Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for each life path number for the month of July 2025. Before we get into the forecast, this is a general reading. If you would like your own personal numerology reading, please book some time with me. My information's in the description box below, and I would love to work with you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Life path number 9, you are going to be working with the vibration of the 25-7 for July. And so this is really going to be a month, I think, where greater self-discovery is at the forefront. So this is a time for going within, taking things a little bit slower, really feeling into what it is that you want to commit to, what you want to say yes to, and not rushing things. There's definitely this need for taking your time and, again, really doing your research, doing your due diligence, making sure that you feel good about where you're investing your time, what you're saying yes to, and not rushing the process. The other thing I would say about this is this could be a month where your ability to trust is challenged. So you might notice like different relationships surface or situations surface that really sort of highlight for you where it is that you have a hard time trusting yourself and making decisions, trusting others, or trusting the universe. And so you could see some opportunities this month to really recognize that about yourself, again, where you struggle with that, and find ways to fine-tune that so that you can learn to trust yourself, trust your intuition, follow that inner guidance, and not second-guess yourself or let that fear sort of keep you from doing the things that you feel called to do. Also, you might meet some people who, might remind you of past experiences, and it might be easier to be cynical or, mistrusting of this person, but the energy is asking you to meet them where they are at and to let them show you who they are, and not to just immediately go to not trusting them or assuming so much about them that you shy away from interacting or connecting with them on a deeper level. Really beautiful energy for that. Now, there is a really strong focus on your relationships this month with the 25 energy, and you could likely see some shifts and changes within those connections. Doesn't have to be romantic relationships, it's across the spectrum. So, how you connect with your boss or your colleagues or the customer service agent. That's all kind of coming up for review this month. And not only is it having you look at the role that you play within those connections and that experience, but it's also asking you to take a closer look at those relationships and those connections. And do you feel good about how you are engaging, but also like what you're accepting from those relationships, from those connections? There might be some changes that need to be made so that you can feel more safe and secure within your connections and feel like you can trust yourself, others, and the universe when it comes to your connections and the experiences that you have. So if you are in, relationships or situations that feel unhealthy, toxic, unsafe, or whatever, this would be the month where you could see a lot of shifts and changes come into that. You will likely have to initiate those changes, but the opportunities will likely be there to do so. Sometimes we can't change certain situations. I mean, we can decide how we're going to show up and engage within those situations. But if you have colleagues that are just really difficult to work with, you might have to make decisions that that help you to sort of navigate that without, having to leave your job or, and so maybe it's about having the conversation with your boss to find the tools to be able to, sort of mitigate that situation to some degree. But, we can't change people. We can only change how we approach situations and how we view the situation and how we decide to internalize it. So there could be a lot of opportunities this month for that greater self-discovery, especially because at the core of this month is the 7 energy for you all. So again, it's pushing you inwards. It's seeing where is it that you have the control? Where is it that you have the choices? Where is it that you have, where you decide how you, again, engage, participate, show up, etc. and how you view the situation. Sometimes our thoughts about the situation can be a game changer when we change those thoughts about the situation. I would say definitely be careful this month about being too cynical, being too judgmental, being too quick to isolate, to kind of cut people off, that sort of thing. Be really mindful about your reactions and make sure that, when it comes to especially your relationships, that you're responding and not reacting. This is definitely a good month for bringing things back into balance and harmony, especially when it comes to your relationships, but there will likely be some change needed, some kind of modification needed in order to make that happen. And the 7 energy is going to help you to see where that is, where you're needed in order to make that happen. I pulled an animal wisdom message for you and you got bat energy. And this is just so 7 energy. So it's like very much about going within, following your intuition, trusting your gut, trusting yourself when it comes to, again, making decisions in the choices that you make. Really, this is about just trusting your senses, following that intuition, following that inner guidance, not second guessing yourself, not beating yourself up if you make a decision, follow that decision and it doesn't work out exactly as you had hoped. Focus on what did work out, what did happen, what can you build on, where, what's the next step. But don't get too caught up in the past or, again, beating yourself up because you didn't choose A instead of B. And, what are you working with? That's what you're being asked to look at. But really, it's this month is about you and coming back home to you and figuring out what you want, what decisions you have to make in order to move in that direction, trusting yourself and trusting that inner guidance and following that. Let that be your North Star, and you won't be disappointed ultimately in the rewards that come in from doing so. So I hope it's a beautiful month. Take care. Bye for now.